Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Digital Marketing Therapy Podcast. Sammy here, your host, and today we're talking about email marketing, but specifically how to grow your list. And we're going to talk about a lot of different things about growing your list, but even more specifically, using a quiz to grow your email list, because quizzes are super fun and everybody loves them. So I'm joined today by two lovely people. So I would love for you to meet Wendy and Linda, owners of the Email Collection. They are two work-from-home moms turned email marketing course creators that reside in the Pacific Northwest. Wendy is a digital marketing strategist with over 20 years of e-commerce experience, and Linda is an email marketing strategist that understands the skill to be your authentic self while serving others. Together, they harness the ability to help women entrepreneurs build a foundation for their business by leveraging email marketing. We have a great conversation, and I can't wait for you to hear it. They drop so many great ideas for how to build your email list, which we know increases revenue and increases your connection with your potential customers. So before we get into the episode, this episode is brought to you by my digital marketing therapy session. So if you've been listening to some of these episodes and you think, there's some good stuff here, but I could really dive deeper, then I highly recommend you check out our office hours. So you can do that by going to thefirstclick.net/office hours and book a time, a 30-minute session where we can dive deep into any particular topic that you've heard on this podcast or somewhere that you're stuck, and we can help get you moving forward. So again, thefirstclick.net/office hours. I can't wait to chat with you. Let's get to it. You're listening to the Digital Marketing Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Bedell-Mulhern, and each week I bring you tips from myself and other experts, as well as hot seats with small business owners and entrepreneurs to demystify digital marketing and get you on your way to generating more leads and growing your business. Well, everybody, I am here with Linda and Wendy, and welcome, ladies, to the podcast.
Hey there. Hi. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so I introduced you guys already, so folks already know a little bit about you, but why don't you just share a little bit about why email marketing, why you got into this business, and what you love so much about it?
Yeah, this is Wendy, and I'll go ahead and start. So I have been in the corporate world for about 20 years, and I was the director of site experience, so I managed content on the website. And then I also manage the email team and getting people to our website. So I have a ton of experience with email. So I left my corporate job about 6 years ago and started consulting. And the common thread in all the businesses I consulted, we'd redo their websites and re-strategize their business. But then it always came down to email marketing to get traffic to their website. So no matter where I went and who I worked with, we spent so much time focused on email marketing. And then I ended up meeting Linda about a year ago, and we decided to start an email marketing business that could really have an impact on small business owners and entrepreneurs, since we knew the value of email and what email brings. So that is my passion, and that's what brings me here.
And I am a creative strategist. I love helping women show their authentic self. And I kind of really like the idea to pivot a little away from social media and establish a better system for your business, like email marketing. I feel that social media, I love it. It's great. But I also think that with algorithm changes, a lot of that is out of your control. But your email list is not. You don't have to worry about algorithms. It's algorithm proof. And you also have the whole window to yourself when you're talking to your audience. So you don't have to compete with anyone either. It's a better system. And I just feel that entrepreneurs, once they recognize that, it's a better foundation for their business as a whole.
Oh my gosh, you're speaking my language. I say that all the time, right? I mean, I get more questions about social media and SEO than anything. And I agree that if using those tools to help grow your email list, because then you own that list, you actually know who the people are, you can build personal relationships with them, and you own that information. People can't take it away from you. I think that's powerful.
Absolutely. I think another, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say another thing that I love to always add is that your customers want to hear from you. So if they're like following you or really into your business, they not only want to hear from you, but they get excited to hear from you. So, on social media, it's so easy to miss stuff. But with email marketing, you have a consistent communication with your customers, and your customers have a consistent communication with you. And it's so reassuring for your customers to know that you're there and you're adding value, and you're being consistent. So that's very important too.
Absolutely. So email is a great tool also because you can hit it at the top of the funnel, in the middle of your funnel, at the bottom of your funnel. It's super powerful. But what we're going to focus on today is kind of where I think people just get stuck at the beginning is, how do I even start to get people into the top of my funnel and into my email list? I think that stops people from even trying to grow their email list. So where would you suggest people kind of begin when they're trying to build kind of that top of funnel experience?
Honestly, I think where we decided to begin is with our closest friends and family. And by what I mean by that is we offered a beta test group into something that we were trying to put together for them. So we established our first 30 emails were actually people that we knew that trusted us and that we could collaborate with to get information back from them. So it was a win-win. They got to see exposure of our work and what we were trying to do to help their business. And in turn, they were able to use our service, our products, and give us information, even testimonials in the end that we could put on our website. I don't know. What do you think, Wendy? I felt like we started there with our friends and family, and then we grew. We can get to that part later, but that's kind of where we started.
Yeah, I completely agree. We have a announcing your business email that we use, and we encourage our clients and customers to use it because the email list that you have personally is so vital and so important. Your friends and your family are the ones who care about you the most, and maybe they would not buy your service, but to let them on the journey and see what they're doing, they inevitably know 5 or 10 people that would. So it starts the ball rolling.
So if I've been in business for a few years, so maybe doing an announcement email wouldn't be a good way for me to start, but I haven't been paying attention to my list maybe for the same amount of time, right? Maybe I have people on my list, but I haven't been engaging with them and I want to re-engage. Could you also use something like, it's the beginning of the year, new year, here's our new products, and kind of tweak that announcement of your business in that way as well?
Absolutely. I think for me personally, it's just about re-engaging with your list. So if you've ghosted them for a while, which a lot of people do, so don't feel bad about that, but don't come in and say, hey, I'm back, maybe just meet them where they are, and start with something that's going to matter to them. So, we're here at the new year, and a great way to start that is just a simple email communication of what you have planned for them for the next year. Get them re-engaged, get them replying to your email. And that's really where you kind of have to start if you haven't been chatting with them.
Awesome. So I've done that part. I've got a small group of people on my list, and now I know I want to expand into new audiences and new people. What's the next logical first step?
So if you haven't already, but you probably have, if you have an email list and an email service provider, you need to create a form. So you put the forms on your website, or the form is like a landing page where people can log in and sign in for your email. So when you're promoting your business, always say, join my list, make sure you're just saying it and pushing it. And then make it very, very people to join your list. And more importantly, there's this notion of what's called a freebie or an opt-in. So it's hard for people to just give away their emails, and they don't necessarily give them away for free. So incentivizing new customers to join your list to get something free in return. So this could be tips, recommendations, advice, whatever it is that is aligned with your business, and very top of funnel to get people kind of introduced into what your service or product is, but a really fun way to engage first-time customers and get people motivated and incentivized to join your list.
So what that might look like is you can do a challenge, like a 5-day challenge. There's a lot of health and fitness coaches out there, skincare consultants. And what you do by this is Earth Day, for example, you can do an Earth Day challenge. And if you're a health and fitness coach, you can focus on, the food reduction. If you are a skincare consultant, you can focus on using healthier products for your skin, for example, sunscreens, mineral-based sunscreens. But at the end of the day, you can tailor it any way you want if you do a type of challenge where you get people engaged, but you also talk to them about your products or services and let them in. The other way that's a lot of fun is doing quizzes. Wendy and I actually did a quiz for our company, and we actually doubled our list in just 2 weeks.
Wow.
So that is very beneficial. The best way to do it is to add in personalities because everyone wants to know more about them.
Well, the thing I love about quizzes too is they get immediate value at the end of it. They get a response like, you are this, or this is the best product for you, or whatever. So they get immediate value, but you also get valuable information about your customer base that's hitting your quiz to help you continue to grow your business. Like, am I targeting the right people? Because what's coming back to me is not actually my ideal client, or whatever. Like, it's a great win-win for everybody.
Absolutely. You just hit the nail on the head. It's all about segmenting, getting the right information so you can tailor your message specifically to your customers.
Okay, so I'm sure my audience right now is going, hold on, like this is a lot. I don't even know like what software I should be using for my email. So let's back up just a little bit and say, okay, are there email service providers that you guys recommend or prefer?
It just depends. We're so lucky to live in this day and age where we don't need thousands of dollars and a huge team of marketing specialists to get an email list. So there's services like MailChimp, there's MailerLite, there's ConvertKit, Constant Contact. There's a ton of services out there. And we recommend doing your research. And I always say, do like an hour or 2 hours, set a timeline. Don't take like a week or 2 months to make a decision, but do some research and see what best meets your needs. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for, what service is best for you. If you have a big list, or you really want automation, or you want to scale, or what your budget is. So I would look online, but there is a handful, such as, like I mentioned before, MailChimp and MailerLite and ConvertKit, and they're all fairly similar.
What do you guys use?
We were using MailChimp, and we use MailChimp for most of our tutorials when we are talking to our customers, because they seem to be the biggest and the most popular. Mm-hmm. So they plug into a lot of different services. But we recently switched to Kajabi.
Okay.
So Kajabi has its own platform, and I recommend if you have a website to look into their email service, because having it all in one place might be easier for you to manage.
Yeah, so Kajabi is really meant for course creators, but it's kind of that all-in-one platform, right? Where you have your website, your course, email marketing, everything all in one, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, so then once you settle on your email service provider and you want to do a quiz, do you guys have favorite platforms or ways for people to create their first quiz?
Yeah, as far as platforms go, we used Interact. Their website is Try Interact. They make it super simple, really easy. I know that there's a couple different quiz generating services out there, so definitely you can do your research on that as well. But Try Interact is the one that we heard the most about. And like I said, they make it super easy. They have a bunch of quiz examples on their website, so you can, even if you're not ready yet, you can go check it out and get some inspiration. And then they walk you through the process step by step, and they allow you to in the quiz to match your brand and kind of help you, give you tutorials on how to make it work as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I know Typeform is another popular one. And we'll link all of these resources up in the show notes. So if you want to head on over to thefirstclick.net/podcast, you can get all of this information so you don't have to like try to write it all down wherever you're at. So, okay. So if I have my email service provider set up, I've got the link on my website, I've got the quiz, so I've got all the elements pulled together. How do I actually drive traffic then to that quiz or to my email sign up or my whatever lead magnet it is that I've created?
So organically is one of the best ways to get started, and you can work out the kinks and make sure that everything's working. I know Wendy and I had a few people trial and error at the beginning, and we made sure it was working. And that at that point, we launched it to a few business groups on our personal Facebook business pages on Facebook and Instagram, and really got the word out. And we were able to double our list in 2 weeks right out of the gate with that. The next steps are Facebook ads, and they pretty much go hand in hand with each other. And once you get Facebook ads going, you want to make sure you can tailor it to your specific audience to grow your list from there.
And I think that's like I said earlier, what I love about the quiz so much is when you're running Facebook ads to that quiz, you can really see, okay, this is who I think my audience is on Facebook. And then now this is who's actually coming through. Are they the right matchup for ultimately my paid, whatever it might be? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. You get a ton of valuable questions. So I think when you're building the quiz, just make sure that you're keeping in mind keeping the questions light and fun for your customers so they're engaged and want to answer them. But then also sprinkling in questions about your business and where they're at, and tying it back into like how you're getting to know them better. So using that information is key for when you're talking to your customers in the future, because you know exactly what they want and what they don't want.
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to mention too, while we kind of go down that road, is you do want to write your results first. So for us, we did it on personality based, and we had 4 buckets for 4 different personalities, and we wrote our results to each result. And then we worked backwards to find out what questions would lead to each bucket. And from there, we were able to design our actual, the quiz, what it looked like, and the words that we wanted to use to promote it, and then the Facebook ad promotion there. So you kind of work backwards from it in the beginning.
Well, and I like that you said you had some people test it, because when you're using third-party tools, something's going to break somewhere. Something's not going to look quite right. You're going to sign up for the newsletter. They're going to get some weird email that you thought you switched out somewhere else, right? So testing it is awesome, and not being nervous about mistakes.
Absolutely. I think when you do run into mistakes, it's just fine tuning and helping you redirect where you need to go.
Okay. So, so then now we've got our lead magnet up. People are signing up for our email list. To me, the next crucial step is not going back into your old habits and ghosting them again, and having systems set up to then start reaching out to them on a regular basis, right? So what are your tips for getting started with kind of the quote unquote welcome sequence or what have you?
Yeah, so you are absolutely right. At this point, a successful quiz needs to have a welcome series to follow it up. You want to welcome them into your community, give them their results. And in the results, actually in our results, we not only gave them results, but we gave them step-by-step directions on how to receive their first win. From there, we also added one of our freebies, which was a PDF on our top 10 tips to more profitable emails. And we even added a custom playlist from Spotify for each personality. So nice. We went really deep. We had a lot of fun with it. And so they receive that email first. Then they get into our welcome series. And your welcome series can be anywhere from just one welcome, hey, thank you for joining our community, or you can take it a little further and go all the way to 7 emails. And the idea of 7 emails is it takes 7 times to interact with someone before they're even going to think about you. So these welcome series really just introduce your new subscriber to the community, and they take them down the road where you can validate them. You can also send an email that helps you build your know, like, and trust factor. And eventually you're going to get to your big sale and why they're there in the first place, and lead them down to your actual thing you want to sell.
And then also, isn't it true that your welcome emails are like your highest open rates of any email that you have? So if you don't send that right away, then you're really missing out on an opportunity to really drive home that engagement with the people that just gave you their email address.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. So your welcome emails are the highest engaged and the highest open rate emails that you'll send. And also, as I mentioned before, your customers want to hear from you and expect to hear from you. So if they give you your email list and you don't send anything, they're going to I don't know, forget about you pretty quickly. So people get really excited, and there's some momentum going when they sign up. So setting up an automated email, it takes time for you to write the email once, but once you set it up, it's completely automated. So you don't have to think about it again. So it's a really easy way to scale. If you have one client coming in or thousands of clients coming in, you actually get to set the tone and share them more about you and your business, and let them really in on who you are and why you're there and how you can genuinely help them.
But the other thing the Welcome Series does is a lot of people sign up for freebies or take quizzes, but then they don't know who designed it and they don't know anything about you. Sometimes they might have even forgot that they signed up for your freebie. So what the Welcome Series does is it helps trigger their memory, and you remind them, hey, this was what you signed up for. This is your freebie. If you haven't already done anything with this, go back, download this freebie, and put it to action. So that'll be in one of your first emails as well, to remind them who you are.
Yeah. So I heard you say I doubled my email list when we did this quiz, and now I've got all these people that are coming into my funnel, and this is amazing. So I'm going to create 5 lead magnets so I can get, quintuple the amount of people on my list. Mm-hmm. Do you advocate people having several different things that are out there, or do you think just keep, once test one, get it working really well, and maybe potentially move on to the next one?
I think that you probably should have at least 2 opt-ins. And once you know which ones are performing the best, you put those on your welcome page. You can put them on your sales page. You can put them on your headline. You can put them in the links for social media. And you really need to shout it from the rooftops to help these people opt in. But once you've designed some and you've trialed that, kind of know which ones are working and stick with the 2.
Yeah. So don't overcomplicate it. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Like we mentioned before, if each one has its own welcome series, you don't want to be duplicate efforts. Essentially, you are the owner, and you know what you want to push during what time and where you want to funnel your customers. So definitely be strategic about what you're pushing and how people are coming into your business.
Well, it's kind of like how you said, reverse engineer the quiz, right? Start with the results and then move backwards from there to get to kind of your launch strategy and all of that good stuff. The same is true for your entire sales funnel, right? Start at the bottom as far as what product you actually want them to purchase, and then move them up. And that's how you reverse engineer that to how you create what your freebies are that you're choosing to test and put out there.
Yeah, I think that makes sense for just anything in general that you're trying to achieve. You have to work backwards from your goals.
So do you think that this works for both product-based and service-based industries, or do you find that email marketing and lead magnet stuff is specific for just the online space?
I think it's absolutely product and service. So not only product and service, but online and offline. So if you're noticing the big trend in the industry is to go B2C. So people are losing the middleman and losing the wholesalers, and people are talking directly to their customers. And email is one of the biggest marketing channels. So the average online retailer and even brick and mortar retailer get 30 to 40% of their sales through email still. So even though they have big stores, they have sales teams, people want to shop in the comfort of their own home, and they want to shop when it's convenient for them. So sending emails on a consistent basis isn't a burden per se. It's actually a great reminder, and it's a great engagement to your customers to tell them something or add value and show them what you have to offer. So I think service, product, online, offline, whatever it is, it's a really great, really genuine way to talk to your customer and engage with your customer.
Yeah, I hope you all are listening to this, because I've been saying this over and over and over again to you, and I get pushback all the time about email marketing. So now these girls are validating it for me. I love it.
Well, it's so funny. I was just talking to somebody the other day, and they're like, I don't want to be considered like a spammer. I don't want to be spammy. And Linda and I really push the intention is to be genuine. So the word spam shouldn't even come up. It should really be like you having a genuine conversation with your customers and you genuinely provide value with your customers, and recommend a sequence of like value, value, sell, value, sell. So provide more value in your selling and really create these meaningful with them. So even if they're not ready to buy, which they're going to be at first, you're staying top of mind to them and you're being considered the expert in their eyes. So it's a great, really genuine way to build relationships with your customers.
That's awesome. Are there any other tips? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to go there. I was saying that speaking of how do you get content, how are you going to get value to bring to your audience? And I think a lot of small business owners, entrepreneurs, they really struggle with this. And if you take it back a little bit, you can actually ask questions to your actual customers, your clients. If you already have an email list, you can send them a survey and ask them 3 questions. Ask them, what are you struggling with? That right there is going to be gold, because that language that they're going to share with you is exactly what you need to use as your content to speak to your audience. Ask them, find 3 to 5 questions that are going to be really meaningful and impactful to help you move your audience from A to B, and set up calls. Ask these questions, do half-hour calls, and it's going to be gold.
Well, I think we tend to not want to ask our customers what they think about us, maybe A, for fear of what they're going to say, but B, because we might think it makes it look like we don't know what we're doing or whatever. But I think that it actually lets your customers know that you care about them and you're really trying to provide the best product or service for them, and their input is valuable to how you continue to move forward in your business.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't have to demean your perspective or the value you're bringing. You could come at it with that exact perspective, which you mentioned is like, I know that we're the email marketing experts, but we really want to hear from you being our customer, and we want to provide content and value for you. So, what struggles do you have, and make it all about them and less about you.
Yeah. That's the biggest struggle, I think, as entrepreneurs, to get out of your own head and craft things from not your perspective, but from your customer's perspective.
Because we've already made that mindset shift. So we're no longer where our customers are. Mm-hmm. And so we can't assume what we think they might want to hear. And that's the main reason why you want to ask them, is so you can go back to where they are and in the process.
Awesome. That's great. Great reminder. So is there any, as we're kind of trying to muddle through ideas and what we want to create for our lead magnet, how we want to do it, are there any other kind of tips that you might have to share with the listeners, places where they might get stuck, ways to kind of push through?
One of the things we hear a lot is that email can be really overwhelming. And, when you go to sit down to write it, you feel kind of blocked on what do you even say. So going back to the point of writing backwards, you want to kind of focus on a call to action. Make sure that each email, and for that matter, each social media post, has a call to action. What do you want your audience to do? Work backwards from that. And speaking just on email, there is a rhyme or reason on how you want to write it. You want to start with a relatable, sticky story. Then you want to evoke emotion. And then you want to have just one call to action. So what does that look like? A sticky story is going to be something that you can share that is maybe random, something that was an embarrassing moment, something that people can relate to you with. And you start it off, and that kind of hooks your reader in. And then as you go into the segue, you want to start addressing those pain points, those areas of struggle. And you bring that in to really evoke emotion from your reader. And then eventually you're going to get to your call to action. And one thing that Wendy and it just drives us nuts is when you do too many call to actions or too many links. Unfortunately, what that does is it creates confusion for your audience, and it might result in your email going to the spam folder. So if you just have one call to action, one clear direction, your audience does like to hear next steps, and they'll follow through. And maybe if you don't have a good call to action, or, a good example could just be follow us on Instagram, or if you like this value added tip, share this with a friend. So it could be very simple.
I love the one email, one action, because that is biggest reason why I will close out of emails, hands down, if I get this huge, because I think people tend to think, well, I only want to send it to my list like maybe once a month or something because I don't want to bombard them. So then they send you this one like kitchen sink email that has like 9 million events and all the things in it. And you're like, I don't even know, I'm done. It's better to send more emails with one specific call to action, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you break down those newsletters, like the monthly newsletter that goes out a week with 4 different cautions, and do the serve sell method. Your audience will be receptive, and I think you'll enjoy being able to communicate more value than selling throughout the month.
That's so good.
Yeah. And another problem with when you said you bombard information and you share the story of each topic. Linda mentioned share a relatable story. So important. So if you have an event coming up that you want to mail, tell like, oh my God, last year and it was amazing. I met person, it changed my perspective. Like, share a really genuine story about the one thing that you want to put, and really make that resonate with people, instead of, like I said, at the end of the month, push 10 things and not making them stand out.
Yep. And I think that's true from the beginning. Like your welcome email sequence, each one of those, whether you have 1 or 7, can be determined by how complex your business is and what it is that you're trying to convey. Like how many different things are you trying to, communicate to people about who your business is. I think you guys have a lot of good things to start with if you're listening to this, and I want to hear and see your lead magnets. And like I said, we'll put some information so you guys can start your quizzes. But if people want to find out more about you guys and kind of how you help business owners with their email campaigns, how can they do that?
Obviously, we want to share our quiz that we made. Just in general, you can take a look and see how we did it, what it looks like. But more importantly, if your listeners really do want to get started with email marketing, they are going to receive in their results clarity on their personality strengths and how to leverage them by using email marketing. Also receive our 5-step to help them take action. They receive our top 10 tips profitable emails and the list we put together. Great start to check out our most performing lead gen right now, which is our quiz. From there, you can see our second most popular one, which is embedded in the results, which is our top 10 most profitable email tips. And I think just with that alone, they'll be able to start off and have a great successful year with all that information. It's going to be a quick win for them.
And we are the email collection. So our website's theemailcollection.com. And then that's our Instagram as well.
So follow us at the email collection.
Cool. Well, we will definitely link all of that up in the show notes to this episode. Any other last words you want to share with our listeners? I mean, I know you've dropped a lot of knowledge bombs already.
I was going to say a big one is have fun. So people get so intimidated by email, and the intention is to be able to talk to your customers when you want and where you want, and have fun with it. Like, write fun stuff, be genuine, and once you get it all set up, it's so much easier. You would have wished you would have done it years ago. So have fun, take it step by step.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, this is something I wish I would have done a long time ago. And I feel like every time you bring up email marketing to a successful entrepreneur who is using email, they say the same thing. They're like, I wish I would have done it sooner. So don't make that mistake. Just make the decision today to do it and get started.
That's so great. Well, thank you both so much for joining me on this episode. It was good stuff.
Awesome. Thank you.
A big thank you again to Linda and Wendy for joining me on this episode. I don't know about you, but I was taking a lot of notes and coming up with new ideas for my email list growth. You can get all of the information about them in our show notes at thefirstclick.net/41, episode 41. And I hope that you'll subscribe wherever you listen. Remember, we're coming to you 2 times a week now on Tuesdays and Fridays with a quick hit. But head on over to wherever you subscribe, click that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.